Hi, I'm Jack, 36, and exactly 4 months ago, I signed divorce papers with my wife while she was wearing a new perfume I'd never smelled before. She said we married too young. I said, okay. She blinked like I just stabbed her with a salad fork. But here's the thing, I didn't yell, didn't beg, didn't even sigh. I just watched her walk out of our home, her new high school millionaire boyfriend waiting in the Tesla parked out front. And that should have been the end of the story. Except it wasn't. Because yesterday, I got a voicemail from her mom saying, "She's been crying for 3 days, Jack. Please. Just listen to her." And here's where this gets good. The day Olivia told me she wanted out of our marriage, she was wearing this tight blue dress I hadn't seen before. That's how I knew it was real. Not the words, those were just noise. It was the outfit. She never dressed like that for me anymore. "We married too young," she said over my homemade lasagna. She barely touched it, by the way. Insult to injury. "Okay," I said, setting down my fork. She blinked twice. "Just okay?" "Yep. You're not going to fight for this?" I looked at her, really looked. 8 years together, college sweethearts, shared Spotify playlists, matching travel mugs, and now she was acting like I should throw myself at her feet because her high school ex just discovered crypto. "No," I said, and went back to eating. 2 weeks later, we were officially separated. 6 months after that, divorced. No kids. Just a 50-50 split and a rustic kitchen table she didn't want. "Too rough," she said. "That table took me 3 weekends to sand and stain." She knew that. She moved in with Mr. Tesla, Mr. Millionaire, Mr. Oh, I am sure it's not a Ponzi scheme. And me? I moved into a 2-bedroom apartment and started a side hustle making custom furniture. That table? Sold a replica for $1,800 to a couple who cried when I delivered it. Life was quiet. Until last week, when I got a text from an unknown number. "Hey. It's me. Can we talk?" I ignored it. Then came another. "Please. It's important." The next morning, I found her dad waiting outside my apartment. "She needs help, Jack," he said. "It's bad." And I thought, here we go. We sat at the same diner where she broke up with me. The same table. Same cracked vinyl booth. Only this time, Olivia didn't show up in designer anything. No lashes, no blowout, no glassy smile. Just a hoodie, faded jeans, and puffy eyes that said she hadn't slept in at least 3 days. "Thanks for meeting me," she said, hands wrapped around a mug she didn't drink from. I didn't respond. Just stared at the condensation on my water glass. She fidgeted, then dropped the bomb like she was casually mentioning she forgot to buy milk. "He's gone. Disappeared last week. I think he scammed me." I blinked. "Once." She sighed like I was the frustrating one here. "I gave him money." "A lot of money." "How much?" "My half of the house sale. 50 grand. I let that sit between us. The waitress dropped off our food, and I nodded politely. Olivia didn't touch hers. My pancakes were great, by the way. I thought it was an investment." She whispered. "He said it was guaranteed." "You gave your ex-boyfriend $50,000 based on a verbal promise?" "No, there were documents. Contracts. He showed me charts, projections." I raised one eyebrow. "I didn't mean to. It just floated up on its own." "I know," she said, tearing up. "I know I was stupid. I know I left the most stable, kind, decent man I've ever known for a fantasy. And now I'm broke. I don't even have enough to pay rent next month." "What happened to the luxury condo?" I asked. "Evicted. He stopped paying. It was in his name. I'm at my parents' now." "Of course. And now you're here. Asking for what, exactly?" Her hands shook as she picked up a napkin, folded it, then unfolded it again. "Help. Just advice. Maybe you could talk to him? You were always calm, persuasive. He listens to you, maybe." I actually laughed. Right there in the booth. It came out like a bark. "You want me to negotiate with the man you left me for? The one who took your money and ghosted?" "I'm desperate, Jack," she said, voice cracking. "Please. Then hire a lawyer. I can't afford one." "Sounds like a you problem." I stood up. Dropped a 20 on the table. "For the record," I said, "I was a good husband. You traded that for a fake millionaire with a leased Tesla and a pyramid scheme. That's not my fault. That's your life now. And I walked out. She called 3 more times that week. Left voicemails that ranged from apologetic to unhinged. I didn't answer. I was busy sanding down a slab of cherry wood for a custom headboard order. Then yesterday, her mom called. She's not eating, she said. She's spiraling. I sighed. Then help her. She needs someone she can trust. That's not me anymore. And I hung up. But I should have known it wasn't over. Because this morning, Olivia showed up at my door with her dad. I opened the door, and there she was, Olivia, standing next to her dad like a teenager who just got caught shoplifting. He looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. She looked like she hadn't stopped crying in a week. I told you not to come here, I said, already regretting opening the door. I told her it was a bad idea. Her dad added, hands up like he was pleading the fifth. But she insisted. We just need a minute, she said. Please. I stepped aside because, well, my therapist says I have a problem with closure. And also because part of me, some stubborn, quiet part, needed to see how low this would go. They came in, sat on my beat-up couch, and I stayed standing. Okay, I said. Pitch me. Olivia's dad took the lead. Look, we're not asking you for money. Good start. But we need your help. She needs your help. This guy, Aaron, he's still around. Still posting pictures like nothing's wrong. Still pretending he's rich. And she gave him money under false pretenses. That's fraud. And we think if you talk to him, guy to guy, he might give it back. Or at least some of it. You think I'm the fraud whisperer now? Her dad sighed. You always had a way of keeping things calm. Rational. I stared at him. Then looked at her. This is insane. Olivia flinched but didn't back down. I'll pay you, she said. You just told me you're broke. My dad will cover it. Her dad looked like he just swallowed a handful of thumbtacks. I didn't. I'll pay you $1,000, she said. If you can help me get any of it back. Please. I don't care how pathetic this is. I can't do this on my own. It wasn't the money. It was the nerve. You left me for this guy, I said slowly. And now you want to hire me to help clean up the mess? Her dad cut in again. We're just asking for a conversation. One conversation. I walked to the kitchen, took a breath, poured water I didn't drink. My brain said absolutely not, but my curiosity? That little bastard said maybe. I meet him once, I said finally. Public place. You don't come. I talk, that's it. No guarantees. Olivia's eyes welled up again. Thank you? Don't thank me yet. The meeting was set for Saturday. Fancy cigar bar downtown. His choice. Of course. I showed up in jeans and a flannel. He showed up in a tailored blazer and a smug grin. Jack. He said like we were old college buddies. Aaron. I said. Let's cut the crap. His smile twitched. Okay, shoot. I'm here about Olivia's money. He laughed. Actually laughed. Oh, come on. She sent her ex-husband to fight her battles? I didn't blink. You took $50,000 under false pretenses. That's fraud. You know it. I know it. The FBI would know it. He didn't laugh that time. I'm just saying, I continued. If there's any way to make this right, even partially, you should think about it now. Before someone else gets involved. Aaron leaned back, folded his arms, and smirked. And if I don't? I smiled. Then we'd both walk away. You with another enemy. Me with a very interesting phone call to make. He didn't answer right away. But when he finally spoke, his tone had changed. I'll think about it, he said. I left the bar and called Olivia. Told her exactly that. You think he'll give it back? Nope. But now he's sweating. That's worth something. I hung up before she could say anything else. And that should have been it. Until the next morning, when the FBI showed up at my workshop. I was sanding down the legs of a custom walnut desk when they showed up. 2 agents in suits that looked like they'd been cut from the same bolt of fabric as their personalities. Jack Rollins? One of them asked, flashing a badge. I froze mid-sand. Depends on who's asking. Special Agent Klein, FBI. We'd like to ask you a few questions about Aaron Delaney. Well, that name drop got my full attention. Sure, I said, brushing sawdust off my shirt. But fair warning, I don't like that guy either. They asked if I'd spoken to him recently. I said yes, one meeting yesterday, public place, no threats, no raised voices. I even offered to show them my receipt from the cigar bar if they were that into itemized lists. Did he disclose any financial information during your conversation? Klein asked. I thought back. He said he'd think about giving Olivia her money back. That's it. The other agent, a younger guy with a face like a grumpy substitute teacher, scribbled furiously into a notepad. We've been investigating Mr. Delaney for several months. Klein explained. Real estate fraud, investment scams, multiple victims across state lines. Your ex-wife is one of them. Yeah, I said. She mentioned that. After she lost everything. She wasn't the only one. So far, we're tracking nearly 30 victims. I let that sink in. Why me? I finally asked. Why come here? Because, Klein said, someone tipped us off that you were meeting with him. We thought he might let something slip. Wasn't me. We know. It was her. Olivia. Of course it was. The agents left me with a business card and instructions to call if Erin reached out again. I sat down on a half-finished stool and stared at nothing for a while. 30 victims. Possibly more. And she gave him 50 grand after all that had already started. My phone buzzed. Olivia. I let it go to voicemail. An hour later she texted. They told me you cooperated. Thank you. I didn't know who else to trust. That night, I went to the co-op and sanded for hours. There's something meditative about it, just you, the wood, and the sound of the grain yielding. I didn't think about her. Or the money. Or even Erin. But then Saturday morning hit like a damn freight train. I woke up to 20 missed calls. The headline on the local news site? Local entrepreneur Erin Delaney arrested in multi-million-dollar Ponzi scheme. And right there, in the lead photo, was Mr. Tesla himself in handcuffs, looking like a deflated balloon in a Gucci hoodie. I laughed out loud. Legitimately laughed. Full belly, coffee spilling, jaw-aching laughter. The phone rang again. Olivia. This time I answered. Did you see? She whispered, breathless. He's going to prison. Yeah, I saw. I might get some money back, she said. They said victims might be entitled to partial restitution if they liquidate assets. Might, I said. Big if there. I know. But maybe this is a start. I didn't reply. You helped, she said. You didn't have to, but you did. Thank you. There was a pause. I waited for the ask. I know I heard you, she said. I know I don't deserve anything from you, but I was wondering if we could get coffee. Just to talk. No pressure. And there it was. I said nothing for a long time. Then, I'm busy, I said. Got a desk to finish. Then I hung up. No anger. No drama. Just a clean break. But it didn't end there. Because what Olivia did next was something I didn't see coming. 3 days later I got served. Not a subpoena. Not a lawsuit. Worse. A GoFundMe link. Subject line. Please read. I'm drowning. I clicked it out of morbid curiosity. Because of course I did, and there it was. Olivia's big, vulnerable internet debut. A tear-stained photo, a long sob story, and a fundraiser goal of $50,000. Hi, my name is Olivia, and I'm a victim of financial fraud. She detailed everything, how she gave Erin her divorce settlement, how she was misled, how she was now facing bankruptcy. And then came the kicker. My ex-husband has refused to help. I don't blame him, but I'm out of options. If you can find it in your heart to donate, I'll be forever grateful. I nearly dropped my phone. She didn't name me directly, but everyone who knew us knew who she meant. The comments were a split screen of the internet's worst personalities, half calling me a heartless monster, the other half asking why she was dumb enough to give her life savings to a man whose investment pitch probably came with a scented candle and a wink. And of course, it didn't stop at the fundraiser. That same day, I got texts from her friends, her mom again, and even a woman I hadn't seen since our wedding who opened with, "Shame on you." Shame on me? For what? For not breaking my back to save the woman who left me for a walking fraud poster? The part that really lit me up, though? Her post ended with, I know I've made mistakes. I know I don't deserve anyone's sympathy. But I'm trying to rebuild. I just need help getting back on my feet. You know what people never mention when they talk about rebuilding? The part where they lit the match. I closed the link and went back to work. I had a deadline on a client's dining table, and I wasn't about to let Olivia's public meltdown derail my actual life. But that night, the fundraiser went viral. A popular local influencer reposted it with the caption, "Ladies, don't ever let a man tell you I told you so instead of helping. Do better." Suddenly, I was trending. Not in the cool way. Not in the, "Look at this amazing furniture artist" way. In the, "Here's the guy who let his ex-wife sink" way. People were tagging my business account, commenting on my woodworking page. One guy even left a 1-star review. "Refuses to support women in crisis. Would not buy again." I was furious. I wanted to scream. Instead, I went to the co-op, cranked up some Miles Davis, and hand-planed the hell out of a maple tabletop. Then, just when I thought it couldn't get more ridiculous, Olivia sent me an email. Not a donation request. Not an apology. An invitation. To dinner. Just talk. Just once. "I'll pay. I promise. I just want closure." Closure. That word again. I stared at my laptop for a long time. Then I clicked. Reply. "Okay. One dinner. You pick the place. But you're paying. And I mean everything. Even the tip." Why? Not because I cared. But because I wanted to see just how far this would go. She picked a trendy little fusion spot downtown, exposed brick, moody lighting, $16 cocktails with names like Velvet Regret and Citrus Trauma. I wore a clean button-down and jeans. She wore a beige sweater, no makeup, and eyes that looked like they hadn't slept since the GoFundMe hit $3,200. We sat. Ordered drinks. I picked the cheapest beer on the menu just to test her commitment. She ordered a house salad, barely touched it. "You look healthy," she said. "You look tired," I replied. She gave me a weak smile. "There." I let the silence hang until she cracked first. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen. No one ever does. I really believed in him. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone." "You didn't try. You succeeded." She flinched like I'd slapped her, and for a second, I felt something. Not guilt. Just that faint muscle memory of caring. It faded quickly. "I get it," she said, voice low. "You're angry. You have every right to be." "I'm not angry," I said. "I'm exhausted." Big difference. The waiter brought our drinks. I sipped mine. She stared at hers like it might bite her. "I miss you," she said suddenly. I blinked. "You miss me?" "I do." "Which version? The one you left? Or the one who builds furniture and tells you no?" She looked down. "Both." A pause. "I messed everything up," she continued. "I had something real and I walked away from it like an idiot. I thought Aaron was exciting. I thought maybe I deserved more. And now? And now I know I had more with you." There it was. The confession. The attempt at reconciliation. The part of the movie where the ex realizes her mistake and the music swells and the audience leans forward wondering if the man she left will finally take her back. Spoiler alert, this isn't that movie. "Let me stop you there," I said, setting my glass down. "This dinner? It's not a do-over. It's not a soft launch into a reunion. It's not even closure. It's me giving you one night of honesty." She looked like she might cry. Again. "Do I still care about you?" I said. "Yeah, probably. 8 years doesn't vanish overnight. But I don't trust you. I don't admire you. And I sure as hell don't want you back." Her fork froze halfway to her mouth. "I came here because I needed to say that. Out loud. So when I go home tonight, I don't wonder anymore." She wiped her eyes, nodded slowly. "I deserve that. You deserve the truth. And the truth is, I hope you get your life together. I really do. But I'm not your parachute. Not your plan B. I'm the guy you walked away from. And I'm walking away, too." I dropped $40 on the table, stood up. "You said you'd pay," she said, voice small. "I did. That's my tip," I replied. "You've stiffed enough people already." And I walked out. I thought that would be the end of it. But 2 days later, I found myself on a podcast. Unwillingly. Because Olivia had gone public. I was in the middle of assembling a floating shelf when my buddy Trey texted me. Bro, you're on a podcast. Olivia just lit you up. I stared at my phone. Blinked. Thought it had to be a joke. It wasn't. She'd gone on this relationship podcast, one of those trendy self-help / trauma dump shows hosted by two overly empathetic women named Kelsey and Dawn. Their episode title? I Left My Husband for the Wrong Man, a Cautionary Tale. Subtitle: Why Some Men Weaponize Emotional Distance. I almost threw my phone across the room. I clicked play. And there she was, in high definition, looking solemn in a soft-lit studio, wrapped in a blanket cardigan, sipping tea from a mug that said, Healing in Progress. I made a mistake, she said. But I was young and unfulfilled. My marriage felt like comfort food, warm but bland. Cool. Bland. Awesome. I didn't cheat, she clarified. But I emotionally checked out before I left. And yeah, I regret it. I fell for someone who turned out to be a con artist. I lost money, friends, my sense of self. But the worst part was realizing that my ex-husband wasn't just hurt, he was vindictive. I nearly choked on my coffee. He refused to help me, she said, voice trembling just enough to sound authentic. Wouldn't even loan me money to get back on my feet. He watched me fall apart, and walked away like I was a stranger. Kelsey gasped. Dawn shook her head like I'd kicked a puppy. And I get it, Olivia added. I hurt him. But I always thought he'd be the kind of man who'd still be there, just in case. That line? Just in case. Like I was a backup generator, sitting quietly in the garage waiting for her main power to fail. The episode went semi-viral. Comments flooded in. He's trash. She's brave for speaking her truth. Typical man. Cold and heartless. Imagine letting the love of your life spiral and doing nothing. I got tagged. My business page got hate-bombed. People who didn't know me from Adam were calling me a financial abuser. That was a new one. So I did the one thing I never thought I'd do. I recorded my own response. Not a podcast. Not a rant. A video. Just me in my workshop. Camera propped up on a tripod. Background, sawdust, wood shavings, my latest bookshelf commission. I looked into the lens and spoke plainly. Hi. I'm Jack. I'm the ex-husband Olivia mentioned on her podcast. I let the silence breathe. She's not lying about what happened. She left me. She gave her money to a scammer. She asked me for help, and I said no. Pause. Not because I hate her. Not because I'm bitter. But because she made her choices. And I made mine. I picked up a chisel and turned it over in my hand. I spent years being the steady one. The guy who fixed things, paid bills, sanded down every rough edge. And when she left, I didn't fight. I respected her decision. I let her go. That was love, too. One more beat. So no, I won't be her safety net. I won't be her redemption arc. I'm not a villain because I said no. I'm just a guy who finally learned how to say it. I ended the video. Uploaded it. Then I went back to work. By midnight, it had over 200,000 views. By the next day, a major creator Reddit called it the most grounded breakup perspective he'd ever heard. The tide started turning. Comment after comment rolled in. Respect. Boundaries are not cruelty. Good for you, man. She wanted a doormat, not a partner. I didn't gloat. I didn't post again. I just let it be. But the next morning, Olivia called. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail I'll never forget. Congrats, she said, voice tight. You won. You got the last word. Everyone thinks you're a saint now. Meanwhile, I'm the woman who left a good man and ruined her life. So, enjoy being the hero. And then she hung up. But the thing is, I wasn't trying to win. I was just trying to heal. It's been 6 months since that voicemail. Olivia never called again. The GoFundMe plateaued at $11,420. She deleted the podcast episode after it backfired. Public sympathy dried up when someone unearthed screenshots of her Instagram during her luxury girlfriend era. You know, the champagne flutes, designer heels, soft focus selfies captioned, manifesting abundance, while Aaron scammed retirees out of their pensions. Turns out, TikTok's forgiveness threshold drops sharply when you've posted more spa selfies than apologies. As for me, my custom furniture waitlist is 3 months deep. I'm teaching beginner classes at the co-op on Thursdays. Got a little side hustle now building reclaimed wood desks for tech bros who love the phrase artisan energy. But more than that, I'm okay. Really, genuinely okay. I have peace. I sleep through the night. I eat breakfast without checking my phone for passive-aggressive texts. I no longer live with the dull ache of being someone's plan B. Last weekend, a client picked up their table and brought their dog. The dog sniffed everything in my shop like it was a holy pilgrimage. His owner smiled and said, "You ever think about building pet furniture?" I laughed. I hadn't. But now, I might. I still have the kitchen table I refinished, the one Olivia left behind. I kept it out on my balcony for a while, used it as a workbench. But last month, I brought it inside. Cleaned it. Oiled the grain. It looks better than ever. Yesterday, I had dinner on it with someone new. Her name's Elise. We met at board game night. She doesn't know anything about the Olivia saga. Just knows I make tables and I'm good with plants, and I somehow always win at codenames. After dinner, we sat on the floor and split a pint of ice cream. Talked about travel. Life. She asked me if I'd ever been in love before. I thought about it for a second. Then I said, "Yeah. Once. But she didn't choose me." She nodded, didn't push. Just squeezed my hand and said, "Well, her loss." I smiled. I didn't need revenge. Or redemption. Or some cinematic closure where she begged and I refused in slow motion while music swelled. I just needed this. A quiet night. A warm hand in mine. A table I built. And no ghosts in the room. That's more than enough.